Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Hogarth's Global Astrology. Know your planets, know yourself, or know your nation. Know yourself. Let me move my camera a little bit. Oh, slightly a bit after 1:15 hour. I had to rush back home and then kind of read up a little bit on the news. And of course, I look forward to answering your questions. But of course, what's going to be at the tip of everyone's tongue, of course, is the Putin and Trump meeting in Alaska, which I understand is either just finished or is probably still taking place right now. And of course, this is going to it's going to decide a lot of things, isn't it, folks? Pardon me, it's going to decide a lot of things. So, you know, we'll be looking at that. I'll take in some of your questions, but we'll be looking at that as the main course, as it were. I've got a few questions in for you from you. Let's see here. Roll out the red carpet, Rolling Stones, supporting medicines, give trouble. Oh, crikey. Let's see here. 1 minute. Sometimes, you know, when I print out the questions and I highlight everything, sometimes it doesn't print out the full part of the question. So why it's always good to have some sort of shorter questions in there. So let me just go back into the questions section of my website, and let's just find, let's do view channel, and let's do show me live, and let's do community or posts. And let's just see if I can see the full part of that question. Let's go news first. Here we are, and let's see here. What's to say about Trump versus Mexico? Okay, all right. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into the question first, and then we're going to look at this Trump-Putin meeting. We're going to look into it. I'm going to take your questions on it, and we're also going to do some tarot on it as well, just to see, you know, just to see what's going on, here. So there is 2 questions here on Trump and Putin. So of course we'll do those a little bit later. And then we've got 1 question on Mexico, and then we've got 1 question on Spain and extreme fires. So let's do Spain, Mexico, and then Duck L'Orange, Putin. Yeah, because this is an unfolding situation. Yeah, an unfolding situation. Thank you so much, Tobiah, for your kind donation. Much appreciated. And I hope you don't mind the show starting a little bit later, but, you know, I wanted to give myself time to get home. And the gents that I play tennis with, they were like, oh, you know, we've not seen you at dinner for a little while, because I've been sacrificing dinner to come and do an earlier show. And I was like, oh, no, you know, they want some time with me. So I started this show a little bit later. It's only 15 minutes later anyway. Okay, so let's start with Denise. No, who am I starting with first? Let's start with Nick Minks. She's asking about Spain. So it's going to be Spain, Mexico, then Duck L'Orange, Putin. And we're going to have a good old dig. See what's going on there. Anyway, so Nick Minks says, Spain is at extreme risk of new fires, I think she wanted to say, but she says, she just put new. As firefighters continue to battle 14 major blazes. Do the cards show if weather will change so these can be brought under control? So let's take a look. Spanish weather. As you know, I'm going to be doing my retreat in Ibiza. So that's the 7th to the 10th of November. For those of you that are interested, I'll be doing my Neo-Vedic retreat there at Aguamadera. But the summers in Spain are getting extremely hot. I've been told that November, December is very nice weather in Ibiza. Very, very nice. Obviously, in the Northern Hemisphere, most people, we're experiencing winter at that stage. But of course, the Balearics are that much closer to North Africa and the equator. So the weather there is apparently very, very nice. So check that out. That will be, details of that will be in the video description below. If I've added it in, it's either there now or add it afterwards. So we'll look at the 5 fighters, and I'm still doing my deal. I think it's going till Monday, so 20% off. And just so you know, I just have to let you guys know this. You need to do, like you see the hoagie, look, it's hoagie 20, but it's uppercase, and you need to put in the coupon section, because some people are booked and are like, oh, I couldn't find what, you know, oh, I wanted the 20% discount and stuff like that, but I couldn't do it. So hoagie, really simple, hoagie uppercase 20, or so put the caps lock on and type it into the coupon. So when it comes to the checkout, after you've put in your details and stuff, there's a bit where there's a box where it says coupon. You put it in there. Many of you have used it, but some have struggled a bit. And I've given the 20% for all those people that missed it anyway. But just so you know, that's where that is. To do that, get 20% off all my consultations. And yeah, many of you have gone for it, so thank you so much for those that have booked. Oops. And these are of course, very, very, very interesting times. So let's look at Spain. Hot, hot, hot in Spain. They hit a June record. I think it was 45 Celsius, which is well over 100. I know you guys, most of you guys in the States do Fahrenheit, but that is very hot. 45 degrees is life-threatening level, yeah, because I think the average body temperature is around about 32 degrees. So once the temperature goes either at or above human body temperature, particularly with high humidity, that is a threat to life. So 45 degrees is ridiculous, and that's why the Spanish have the siesta. Normally, though, you get those plus 45 degrees temperatures July, August. This time they had it in June. Yeah, so it lets you know there's a lot going on. And my friend Nelliana, who's helping with me with my retreat, she's like, it was scorching today. She had to lie down. It was that hot. All right, this is Spain. Major places what the cards show. Will this be brought under control? If we get the Sun card come out, oops, the Sun can literally talk about heat. Hot places. So let's see if the Sun comes out. Spain. Temperatures. Spain. Spain temperatures. And then we'll go to Mexico, and then Duck L'Orange and Putin for that deep rummage around. Spain. 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 Let's have a little look, see. There's actually quite a lot going on here. And I don't think it's so much about the fires. The fires is part of it, but there's a subtext going on. If we look here, first card out, we got the Page of Cups, which you guys know I refer to as stinky fish. This means an unpleasant message or a revelation or something you kind of like, not sure if I like the sound of that. So that, of course, can be the revelation of the fires themselves. But this is well understood. There's something else going on. Yeah. If we look here, though, we do have the Ace of Wands in the obstacle position. Now, Wands is associated with the element of fire. Yeah. The aces are yes cards, they're impactful cards, but here this is quite a positive card, but it symbolizes fire and it's showing up in the obstacles. So I think this is literally the flames, but this is also a card of action. Yeah, so you know the local authorities will be taking action, etc. So it's showing the fire and it's showing the action. If we look here, we have the Five of Pentacles. So this is literally everyone. We can imagine, I said Five of Pentacles, it's Five of Wands. So again, the element of fire again. But it shows here there's an element of discombobulation or lack of agreement, of coordination of how to tackle everything. Maybe they're just feeling a bit overwhelmed, yeah? But they're trying their best, yeah? They're going for it. However, we have the Five of Cups, which is the card of loss, disappointment, a sense of betrayal. So they're going to do their best to kind of control the fires, but maybe some homes will be lost. There'll be a sense of disappointment, particularly when you look at the outcome card. So this says to me, which is the Three of Swords. As you can see, you don't need to be a tarot reader to understand the connotations of this card. A heart pierced by three swords. So this is making people, you know, a little bit, you know, sad because of the, you know, these fires, global warming, etc. So the authorities will do their best. They're going to fight as best they can. Yeah. But it shows to me that the fire, in a way, almost has an upper hand at the moment. But there are going to be losses. They'll probably say things, but there are going to be losses. So I think some people's homes, hopefully not a loss of life, because they've had warning, but it's not going to be easy. Yeah, not going to be easy. All right, so that's Spain. Let's see who is here in the chat. So Tobiah, just clicking that up again. Thank you so much. Let's see who's here in the live. And now we're going to look at Mexico. Yeah. Someone's here saying TBC Bork is still trying to save money for a consultation. Hopefully I will be able to catch the next promotion. Oh, bless. Yeah, I'll do one. I normally do one in the summer. I don't think I did one last year, but August is normally when I do my summer one. Sometimes I do one in the winter, but you know, it all depends. It all depends. Here we are. Someone's getting getting their comments in before we read on it, but it's good to see. Mickey Mouse says, I personally don't think that meeting between Duck and Putin was about stopping the war in Ukraine. I believe it was a business deal. What do you think, Hoagie? Yes, we can look into it. Like, think about it, folks. Putinshka is not going to meet with Trump without having a preset agenda of what he wants. Putin knows what he wants. Actually, I was watching the news and I saw them coming down the red carpet, and you saw Trump doing his little applaud, and then they shook hands, and you notice the body language. It was actually very friendly. These two men know each other well. They know each other well. You can just read from the body language. There is a familiarity there. They've known each other for decades, these two. You can't, there's certain things in body language you can't fake. One of the things that's very hard to fake is genuine emotions of pleasure and reciprocity. There was reciprocity between those two. I could just see it in the body language. So we'll see. Obviously, Putinshka wants all of, you know, the lands that he's captured already, and this, that, and the other. And I was hearing that he basically wants to change Zelensky, yeah, which means that he wants Ukraine to become a vassal state, basically. Anyway, let's look at Mexico. Okay, so Denise Ferguson says, Rolling Stone is reporting that if Mexico doesn't give Trump what he wants, he's prepared to attack them. An administration official states it's not a bluff and plans are already in the works. Oh my God. What do the cards have to say about that? I think is what she was saying. Let me just go in here. Oh, come on, phone. Don't mess up now. Come on, phone. Typical. Let me go back into the comments again. And let's do newest first. Oh, for heaven's sake, phone. I just want to see the rest of the comment. And it's not showing. See if I can get, there we go. Yes, Rolling Stone, he's prepared to attack them. An administration official states it's not a bluff and plans are already in the works. What do the cards have to say about Trump versus Mexico? There we are, got there in the end. All right, what do the cards have to say about Trump versus Mexico? You know, Mexico are trying to do important things, you know. Claudia Sheinbaum, their president, she's intelligent. She used to be a scientist. And she's very forward thinking, very forward thinking. She's also set up this special administration for science and innovation in Mexico. Mexico also was one of the countries to give a global first. Do you remember there was those kind of mummified remains that they found in some cave? They literally looked like they were from some sci-fi project. Literally could have come out of the X-Files. And they scanned them and they found skeletons inside. And Mexico had a conference about it and basically said they were aliens. So Mexico is going down a very broad-minded route. Duck L'Orange knows this. Trump versus Mexico, what's going on? Will he use military force? The cards we need to look out for, a card that will really talk about military force, is the Knight of Swords. If that comes up, it could really be a thing. Tower, we'll obviously talk about attacks and stuff like that. What else? Even the Knight of Wands can talk about that. If we also see the Empress come, the High Priestess, that talks about secret plans, machinations. Let's see. Trump versus Mexico. Does he have plans to invade? And a shout out to my British viewers that could be watching. And Jonathan, if you're watching, shout out to you. We play tennis. He said he'd be watching the show tonight. I'm going up quite late though, so he might be asleep, but you never know. There's a card I forgot to mention, but showed up. Ah, typical. All right, here we go. Here we go. Trump versus Mexico. Remember, that's the question. Trump versus Mexico. Will he attack? Look at this. We have the Seven of Swords, which we know is the card of what? Lying, cheating, deception, or what is here? When I'm doing personal readings for people and this card comes up, it can talk about having cunning, resourcefulness, figuring stuff out. It can also show there's someone in their life that might be trying to do this, steal or weaken the camp. So if we look here, he's the Seven of Swords. He's holding 5, but 2 are left behind. So this is about undermining. This essentially is a card of undermining something, either by theft or skullduggery. It's the oeuvre of this card is to weaken the camp. Yeah, weaken the camp. So, of course, if it's Trump versus Mexico, he's looking to what? Weaken Mexico, try and do some kind of theft or underhandedness. Surprise, surprise. Yeah, we look here. And the next card. Now, very often, the second card, when I do the 5 card spread, particularly if the first card is negative, the second card can be the opposition. If we look here, look at this. We see here we have the 3 of Wands. Now remember, the Wands deals with the element of fire, but as you know, I associate Wands with entrepreneurship, particularly the two of Wands and the 3 of Wands. They really do deal with trade. Here you see the merchant is standing here waiting for his ships to come in. So this is talking about trade across borders. Imports and exports. What has Duck L'Orange been doing? He's been all over those tariffs. He has recently tariffed Mexico. I think it's 50%. No, sorry, Brazil, pardon me, correction. I think he's tariffed Brazil 50%. Most of America's coffee comes from Brazil. Brazil are now using their soya. Their Brazilian farmers are now sending their stuff to China. Yeah. So all those farm owning Trump voters have been screwed in the you know what. They should have learned from the first time anyway, but this is what Dr. Larange is looking at. He's assessing, yeah? He's looking at Mexico and trying to size them up, yeah? How can I weaken them, yeah? How can I weaken Mexico? If we look here, just in case we weren't sure, we see we've got the Six of Pentacles, which means it's all about the money. Yeah, here you see the wealthy benefactor that is given to the two paupers down here. This is Trump. Trump sees himself in this way, and you're like, listen, do our deal, but we'll give you some crumbs. Crumbs, yeah? Just in case we weren't sure again, what do we see? We see the Four of Wands, which means reaching a milestone. Yeah, it can be a celebration, a wedding. But, as you guys know, when I'm reading political, particularly American politics, this is the White House. Yeah? So it's like Trump is trying to make some kind of statement, trying to show that he's tough. And his intention for Mexico is this. The Five of Pentacles, which is what? Isolation, being out in the cold, sickness, poverty. He wishes to impoverish Mexico by flinging all of these tariffs on. But in the end, the only people that are going to be impoverished are the American people. Because, as everyone knows, particularly if you're a Democrat or an do you think we've got maybe some of Dr. Larange's minions out? Yeah? I strongly suspect. Anyway, the tariff is paid by companies and the American people. It's passed on to the American people. So he's wanting to look tough. He's wanting to punish Mexico. But the people that are going to be punished are the American people. And Mexico is probably just going to trade with some other. Well, it already is. It's trading with Canada. It's trading with the EU. It's going to be opening more trade with China. Let's put a clarifying card. It's not going to work. Yes, Americans will feel the hit. I mean, Mexicans will feel the hit, particularly with the ICE deportations, because a lot of those people that were undocumented would have been sending the money back home. Yeah, so that's a big loss of revenue. But Sheinbaum, the president, she is resourceful and she is a scientist. And she's got to take a scientific approach. Let's put a clarifier on that poverty card. In terms of seeing where Mexico is going to be. Let's have a look. Ah! No, they're going to find new financial opportunities. Yeah, whatever happens, they've decided to find new financial opportunities with the Page of Pentacles, and there's going to be an announcement probably quite soon. Yeah. All right. So let's dive into Dr. Larange and Putinshka. Yeah, this very consequential meeting. Let me know if you've got any live updates in the chat. Let me slap a bit of water. And let me bring you guys in first. Let's see here. Let's see who's in the chat. So again, Mickey Mouse is a person who don't think that meeting between Duck and Putin was about stopping the war in Ukraine. I believe it was about business deal. What do you think? So we can look into that. Let's actually highlight that so I remember it. I think I need to say another yes. I'm going to say a thank you here. Sylvia, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Hoki, for your precious insights. By the way, CFS stands for Swiss francs. Ah, thank you. Oh, we've got someone in Switzerland, folks. Look, digression. I have always wanted to visit Switzerland. I've not been there yet. I would love to go in the spring, late spring, maybe May, and see the meadows and the Edelweiss, and see the cows, and of course, eat Swiss cheese, have a raclette, drink some lovely wine, and, you know, maybe go to Geneva and Zurich. The winter markets are supposed to be fabulous. and drink, you know, just have a good time. Drink some nice wines there. And when I got spare time, I might go to Vienna as well. So it might be Vienna, Switzerland, or Switzerland, Vienna, something like that. But you've made me feel very nostalgic there. So thank you so much. I appreciate that. Okay, so let's just pull some cards. Let's see what else you guys are saying here. I've got a, oh, here we are. So Sylvia, Patricia Franzino, thank you so much. So giving a thank you here. Lilith is saying, feels like the temperature has been in the hundreds since June. Yeah, a lot of heat for America as well. You guys, you don't need me to tell you that. It's been like plus 100 in blazing in a lot of places. And then, of course, what happens is that hot air can hold more moisture. This is why there's been these torrential downpours and floods and all of this kind of stuff. Let's see here. Lisa says Putin was in the beast. Was he? Honestly, Duck L'Orange kisses that man's feet. Putin was, well, let's see here. Christy Ritter says Putin was threatening to release dirt on Trump. He had to do whatever Putin demanded, of course. Someone's saying here Putin is a vampire. Yeah, he's a deeply wicked man, but unfortunately he's very intelligent. And let me tell you, I'm going to, another aside, forgive me, but I think you'll find this interesting. Years ago, I looked into Putinska's chart. He has a very powerful chart, but let me tell you, his Navamsha chart, which is like the second half of life, is practically perfect. Never seen a chart like it. He does not have one planet in debilitation. It's either in its own sign, exalted, or the sign of a friend. That's very, very rare. And it means that he has a lot of skills at his disposal. Let me tell you this. I'm going to tell you this off the record, guys. And I know people that have done psychic things, you know, looking into Putinska and stuff like that. Let me tell you, Putin is a very high-level wizard for entertainment purposes only. High level. I've been told on good authority that he goes out to a lot of places, you know, in Siberia. There's special tribes out there in Siberia that we don't even have a clue about that do the old magic. And the old magic is often the most powerful and the best. He knows this stuff. There is a Russian word which is called kompromat. Many of you may know this. It's a Russian word. And as the name suggests, when you think of onomatopoeia, kompromat is very much what? It means with compromise. Kompromat is when you have something over someone. You set up a scenario. You remember all those senators that went to Russia in 2018? And mainstream media didn't make a big deal about it. It's like, oh, it was 2018, 2019. I can't remember. I think it was pre-COVID. What were they doing there? This is a classic example when it comes to kompromat. You lure these people in because they're vain and greedy. Yeah. Especially a lot of politicians these days, vain and greedy and lusty. We already know about the Epstein and all that stuff. Imagine who else was at these parties. So what you do is you set up a scenario. You have cameras all over the rooms, yeah, all over the rooms hidden. And then you say to your special agent or whatever, you say, hey, Ludmila, roll the camera. And these senators that have a great time talking with, you know, even what's her face, the one that is supposed to be the head of defense or whatever, the woman with the black hair with a gray streak. Do you remember? And there was the signal gate. And part of the scandal of the signal gate was that when she was responding to the message, she was in Russia at the time. Very pro-Russian. Can't remember her name now. It escapes me. So what they do is they roll the camera and they capture everything. They capture everything. And they go, do what we want or else. They capture everything in a compromising position. Everything. Unequivocal evidence. Just like Epstein got. Yeah, someone corrected me, Jeannie corrected me the other day. She says it's Epstein, but actually, you know, Epstein is actually a German name, and when there is ST together, it becomes sh. So it's actually Epstein in terms of the German way, but you can say Einstein, yeah? So Epstein, you can say it that way, but it's not Epstein. Anyway, never mind, doesn't matter. We all know who he is. And they said he worked for Mossad. So he's been collecting, yeah, all of this data, all of this stuff, all of this compromat. So we know that, you know, APAC, which is one of the biggest lobbyists in America, they've got all the dirt on these politicians. This is why they're still supporting with everything that's going on. Think about it. It makes sense, yeah? So think of this open goal. You have, I'm going off on a tangent here, but think about it. You have a Fredophile in chief, because you've got to be careful with your words here. Fredophile in chief, known to be an abuser of underage, known. He was in the White House. Yet where is the opposition apart from Gavin Newsom and, you know, AOC and Jasmine Crockett and Bernie Sanders? Precious little is being spoken. Yet somehow the Democrats can find bipartisan votes to kind of support Netanyahu with his campaign, with the big G word that is going on there. Yeah, rhymes with cyanide. Why is that? When the whole world can see, yeah, we can all see what is going on. Why is that situation being allowed to continue? We know Trump, we know Duck LaRange is in the files, but who else? Actions speak louder than words, folks. And this is so much, again, another tangent again, but when I was telling you guys, remember I said Saturn is in sidereal Pisces with Neptune. Neptune deals with scandals, secrets, things that are hidden, gaslighting, illusions, delusions. He can also deal with music and spirituality. He is a planet of talent. He gives profound talents. If a person has got Neptune in the right place, you know, first house, fifth house, ninth house, something like that. But, you know, fifth house can give a person a lot of gifts and a lot of talents. But his shadow side, which of course a lot of these politicians are using, are illusions, delusions, lies, gaslighting, scandals. They're both at the same degree. Saturn is retrograde, Neptune is retrograde. And when a planet is at the same degree with another planet, they're not just in the same house, they're in the same bed. They're going to be in the same pada, same nakshatra. And Saturn is the planet of reality. And now we're seeing the reality emerge. But there's another reality emerging. I was watching I've Had It podcast the other day. You know, the two feisty, salty ladies, yeah, based in Oklahoma. Pumps and, is it Jennifer? But Pumps, I remember her name so easily. And then we got the other one. And they were just talking, yeah, about all that stuff. The Fredophilia that is rampant in, you know, the Republican Party and all that stuff and the hypocrisy. And they've just been calling all of this stuff out. And they've been talking about the lobbying because Pluto is in sidereal Capricorn, folks. Capricorn deals with government and big business, top-down structures. Pluto is where we get the name plutocrat from. So it deals with oligarchy. Look at all the oligarchy that are interfering in what? Government, business. It's so obvious, isn't it? You know, it's so obvious. Look at everything that happened with Doge, Elon Musk, and now this. Oh. And this is why, apart from Gavin Newsom and stuff, like I said, this is why you're hardly hearing a peep out of the D party, that are collectively acting like a bunch of delisters right now. I just have to say, they are. We're all angry. We're all frustrated. This is why their approval rating is not good right now. But it's starting to go up because obviously people can see that the Republicans are so dreadful. But that it should be many points in the lead. Yeah, why are they in that bottom of the bucket? Yeah, because they're not fighting. But at least, like I said, Gavin Newsom's not perfect. But do you remember I read on his chart? You guys would have seen it. It was Gavin Newsom versus Trump. And I said, he has the qualities of a leader. He has, because his Jupiter is in the star Regulus. Jupiter gets boosted when it's in contact with that star, like Mars does for Trump. So his Jupiter can match the energy in Trump's chart. And this is why he's having the courage. But it's righteousness. Yeah, Jupiter is the planet of righteousness, virtue. His shadow is greed, but you put that to a side. He is a benefic. And really and truly, only Jupiter can counter Mars, because it's the only other planet that gets boosted by this star Regulus, which sits at 4 to 6 degrees of sidereal Leo in Magha Nakshatra. Yeah, think about it. It's spelled Magha in Sanskrit. Drop the H, what do you get? MAGA, which is what Trump is fighting for. Well, not really, because he hates his base, but that's the umbrella. But so far, Gavin is fighting the good fight. Yeah. So forgive those tangents there. I just had to get that off my chest. I can't even remember what the bloody question is. So oh, I was supposed to answer if Trump would attack Mexico, wasn't it? Oh, okay, let's quickly do this. Let's see what's going on. Forgive my tangent and my rant, folks, but you know, it's just so frustrating and it's affecting so many things, not just America. I mean, tourism is plummeting. Tourism is plummeting. Vegas barely has tourists, 2 tourists to rub together. Empty flights. Not all the flights are complete, but there's a lot of empty flights. According to some accounts, they're saying that tourism is down by over 60%. Let me tell you something. If Disney is struggling to fill the turnstiles, that is a problem. If Disney can't pull the money in, no one can. Simple as that. So they're starting to lay off staff and all of this BS. Might be a bit of bluster. I might have to pull a clarifier here. Now, if we look here, first card out, Knight of Wands, but it's reversed. Oh, and there's 583 of you here right now. Thank you so much for joining me. And please, of course, if you've not joined yet, I say join, subscribe. Remember, subscription is free. You don't have to pay anything. Just subscribe, click the bell notification, and then you'll be notified when I've got my next video up. It really helps the channel grow and go further. You know, my channel's doing well, but, you know, it'd be nice. It would be nice to see it grow further. Anyway. When the card is the right way up, the Knight of Wands can talk about impulsive, well, it can talk about wanting to take action, go forward, passion, desire. And again, Wands deal with business, but it's reversed. When it's reversed, sometimes it's too simplistic to say that it just means the opposite. But it's about not being able to move forward, feeling blocked. The passion is not quite there, or what happens is the petulance and the immaturity of the card comes out more. So this is talking about Trump's petulance and immaturity, but also feeling a bit blocked when it comes to Mexico. Now, look what's in the obstacle position. Ace of Pentacles. So it's all about the money. This is about trade. He's wanting to try and extract something. He's been told by his advisors that he can get more money out of Mexico. And I think it's to do with that NAFTA. Yeah? Money. Money's in the obstacle position. He and his diabolical whatevers are cooking something up. Yeah. The High Priestess is normally quite a good card, but really in personal readings, when you see it in politics, as you know, I associate this with Netanyahu and his peeps, yeah, because she's holding the Torah. But also as well, it can talk about subterfuge, machinations, things going on behind the scenes, a predatory nature it can talk about. So we can see here, Trump is not being transparent about what he wants. He's scheming with people. If you look here, Five of Swords, he's being prepared to what? Abuse his power. Quite simply, abuse his power. But you'll notice here, the guy's standing over the swords, but two are walking away. Mexico will walk away from this. I think they're going to just reach a point where they're going to be like, you know what, we're not going to engage. Sheinbaum is going to be like, yeah, she's going to be giving the one-fingered salute. She's a very intelligent woman. She used to be a scientist. And imagine this blathering orange diaper douchebag. Yeah. She must be like, oh my God. And it started so well. But if we look here, we have the Fool card, which could be talking about taking a leap of faith. The universe has got your back. But particularly when we're talking about Trump, this can literally mean foolishness, foolhardy, not paying attention, yeah, to the consequences of jumping off the cliff. This is what the dog, the little white dog, is trying to warn the fool. The dog is saying, are you sure? Be careful. This can be quite a reckless card. I mean, invading Mexico is just outrageous, but let's just see. Let's pull some clarifiers and then let's go into the summit. We're doing on time. Let me go into, I mean, it would be absolutely outrageous. I mean, it doesn't even bear worth thinking about, does it? But he wants to, yeah. There's an element here where he wants to. We got the Ace of Clubs again, but this deals with entrepreneurship, business. He wants to initiate something, start something new, create fertile new beginnings. But this is also a card that can deal with force, literally beatings. However, you see here, if you look here, this could represent Mexico and Sheinbaum. Yes, they're feeling a beaten over the head, but this is a very shrewd, resourceful card. They're not going to be defeated easily. And then the outcome is Temperance, which is about, you know, balance, sobriety, reaching some kind of equilibrium. She's very cunning. She's going to figure something out. If she can't trade with the USA, she'll trade with the rest of the world. I think it will backfire. And if he even tries to evade, he could find that Mexico is going to fight back in ways that they didn't even know that was possible. Yeah, you know, they're switched on, you know. They're quietly cunning. That's what I would say. Yeah, quietly cunning. All right, let's now get into the meat and drink. Let's just see what else everyone is saying. Gosh, I've got to scroll through all the comments. Let's have a look. Mickey Mouse saying, I think if it's overturned same-sex marriage, then you will see more protest and fallout. Indeed. I mean, that's their plan, yeah? They don't want anyone to have any rights. That's what it's about. These people, they're just undiluted douchebags. Someone says here, Christy is saying, I'm rooting for Mexico. Elisa says, Mexico just turned off the gasoline valve to the United States of America. They were caught stealing gasoline. Wow. Okay, so Kaylee is saying, I got Strength, the Sun, 3 of Pentacles, and 8 of Pentacles. I think my cards show Mexico's outcome. Even if Duck L'Orange does attack in any way, they will overcome. Claudia Sheinbaum is very smart. She is. She is way smarter than Trump. She's way smarter than the average leader anyway. She's a proper bona fide scientist. Strength. Yeah, so strength is about finding resourcefulness within, being able to tame the beast. The Sun is full disclosure, enlightenment, clarity. So she's clear. Yeah, she's clear-sighted. Three of Pentacles is about working with others in collaboration, partnership, working on a shared plan. So then, of course, that could be BRICS, of course, and the rest of the world. And Eight of Pentacles is working hard, being studious, diligent, working for an outcome that could also have a financial result as well. So yeah, he's bitten off more heat than he can chew with Shambhan. Let's see here. Someone's saying, where is all the money Doge said they were saving? How is it we don't have any money for affordable housing, education, safety, etc.? I believe the money is being funneled into Ducky's piggy bank account. Yeah, it's not about efficiency. It's about domination. Yeah, that's what it's about. Tanon says, Big Southwest farmer today said his foreign supplier told him that his order from this his order for farm necessities to be delivered in 3 months will cost a bit more than double from tariffs. Farmer said he cannot afford. Yeah, they're going to go out of business. What will happen is all those people, yeah, all the MAGA farmers that voted for Duck L'Orange and to deport their own staff, they're going to become destitute largely. I'm going to say probably in the ballpark of 80 to 90% of them will become destitute. Then J.D. Vance with his company, I can't remember what it is called, but it's this company that deals in farmland. He'll buy up their properties on dimes on the dollar. And then all of that land will go to the billionaires and they'll just continue their stranglehold. This is what it's all about. They voted against their own interest because they are determined for other people not to have. So they would rather hurt themselves just so someone else has less, but they will have nothing. And then they're going to have to go back and work on the farms that they don't even own anymore. It's just madness. Let's see here. Elisa says he's so jealous of President Claudia Sheinbaum of Mexico. He is very jealous of her for being loved. She is successful and she's a real president. Yeah, she's got very high approval ratings. Someone here saying TBC Borg says stopped at gas station to pick up a gallon of milk and they wanted $9 for it. I left it on the counter and walked out. That is I remember a time when America was cheap. Yeah. Especially as with my pounds. Yeah. Once upon a time, now obviously nothing can, 2004 was a very special time. But let me tell you this. For 3 years in a row, I used to fly into New York. I've been to America about 5 or 6 times now. And as you guys know, I've visited 25 out of the 50 states in America. In the early days, like 2004, 2005, 2006, I used to call New York the Manhattan sale. Everything is half price. Yeah, because it was $2 to the pound. Okay, not great for Americans visiting. $2 to the pound. It meant my money was doubled. And then the food itself was far cheaper than London. I'm talking about back in the day. You remember this? When you could get a burger and fries and a drink for like $14. Do you remember that? And even that was a little bit she. I remember like, I was buying pizza slices for like $3-4 by the slice. I mean, they were gigantic, yeah? Yeah? $3-4 a slice in Manhattan. Maybe I was in whatever district, and yeah, sometimes there were rats running around, not in the joint. But we're talking like 2004. But it was a sensational time. I have such fond memories. But it was cheap. So a $4 slice of pizza, which is already cheap, was costing me £2. Now, obviously, prices can't stay that way forever, but it gives you some perspective, huh? When I visited America in 2019, the prices were already more expensive than London at that time. When I visited in 2024, as you guys know, I did my New Mexico retreat, yada, yada. Had a fabulous time. Visited some other states, which took me up to 25 states. It was already more expensive than London. We went to Vegas, and you get diddled and dined on everything, and then you get fish hooked on the way out. You leave the door, and they winkle more money out of you again. And is it any wonder that Las Vegas is on the skids? Yeah, with all of this greed. Oh my God, I'm ranting. Let's see the energy of the. Let's see what Putin wants, and let's see what Trump wants. How about that? What does Putinska want out of this? Now, this may be a fait accompli already. I don't know if the summit is already finished. We're sort of seeing it in live time. I think it started a few hours ago before the show. So let's just see what the cards say. Yeah, what does Putinska want? And then we'll look at Declarange. What does Putinska want out of this deal? What maybe could he get? Putinska. What does he want? What does Putinska want out of this? And then we'll be able to compare the reading to the news. Yeah, see how accurate it is. Very clear what he wants. Yeah. Here we are. We have Putinska, the Seven of Pentacles. And as you know, I refer to this card as what? The card of ROI, which means return on investment. Putinska wants a return on his investment into Declarange. He helped Declarange, which has been proven, get elected in 2016. Yeah, it was his money, Russian money, all the Facebook ads, etc. And of course, Mark Zuckerberg, did the rest, put it all up, for entertainment purposes only. So here we see Putinska wants to call in his ROI. He's going to be saying privately, Donald, I have invested in you. It's time for the return. Yeah. And if Donald goes, well, yeah, Putinska just holds up. Remember this? Yeah. Ludmilla ran the tape. Compromat. He wants a return on his investment. Just in case we weren't sure. Look at this. Putin gets the Two of Wands. You know already I associate the Wands with what? Entrepreneurship. But particularly the Two and the Three of Wands. Here is the Two of Wands, which is about what? Making plans, making business plans. But look, he's holding a globe in the hand. Putin is looking at the wider perspective. He wants those sanctions dropped or mollified or excommunicated in some way or disguised or transformed into something else. He's looking at the bigger picture. He's looking at Russia's stance in the world. He wants those trade routes. Yeah, Bering Sea and all of that backwater stuff between Russia and Alaska. Fishing waters, oil. Yeah, that's what he's looking at. Planning. Return on investment planning. Look what he gets in the middle card. Smug merchant. Yeah, gets the Nine of Pentacles, which is what? A wish fulfillment card. Whatever is said formally, publicly about this meeting, really, Putinska is getting what he wants. He's going to get what he wants. How can Declarange refuse him? And if we look here, he wants his what? His status as emperor, which what he really is in all but name, reinforced. Yeah, you've got Ukraine. Any deal that they do, it's going to be some kind of lip service for Ukraine, something kind of superficial to give them, if at all, because Putinska wants Zelensky removed, because it's about him being the supreme leader, being the emperor, being the supreme leader of all of Russia. Let's not forget, just in case you didn't know, Putin said that his icons that he admires most is Peter the Great and Catherine the Great, two of the greatest leaders of Imperial Russia ever. Peter the Great was horrific, yeah, but he built St. Petersburg. They said I think it was over 200,000 people, bodies, serfs, died building that city in the swamp. But it is glorious. I've been there. It's very beautiful. You know, to say otherwise is just a lie. It is. It smells of petrol though. At least at the time. Not many electric cars there. But this is about Putinshka establishing. This deal is about reinforcing himself as emperor and imposing his will. If we look here, the outcome card is the moon. Yeah, the moon. Nothing is clear by moonlight. So this can also talk about emotional upset, disturb. It can also talk about esoteric means. But it also talks about the domesticated dog and the wild desires of the wolf. So, and here you've got the lobster coming out, yeah, which for me represents the deep subconscious. So Putin here, it's all about improving his power in the world, and he's got that compromat over Duck L'Orange, Trump. Yeah, let's see what Trump wants. Probably quite similar to Putinshka, but let's just see what Trump wants. Let's see if they get similar cards or something completely different. Saw Trump walking up the red carpet, looking quite tired, to be honest. I think he's exhausted. He doesn't want to admit it, but I think he's just exhausted. Can't turn Putinshka down though. And he looked revived when Putin came to him and shook his hand. They know each other. They say that Putin and KGB, which is now FSB, has been talking to Trump since the 80s, since Ivana. Ivana's father used to be Czech KGB. Melania, for entertainment purposes, met on the Lolita Express. They're saying that Epstein introduced Trump to Melania, and they're also saying that Epstein learned to people traffic from Trump because of his beauty pageants. You can't make this shit up. What does Duck L'Orange want out of? The reason why it's so crazy, folks, is that America, as a state, as a nation, is not only having a Pluto return, it is also in the Rahu Dasha, which is the wildest one. And it's also Sadi Sati, which is 7 years of trials, when Saturn is one sign from the moon, with the moon, and one sign after. The moon placement in America is in sidereal Pisces. No, sidereal Aquarius. Saturn is now in Pisces. So the Sadi Sati will start to lift off, but not for a while yet. Towards the end, yeah. Saturn spends about 2.5 years in each sign, so there's 2 years and loose change to go. All right, this is what Trump wants. First of all, it's an abuse of power. Yeah, it's an abuse of power. He wants to look powerful. He wants to look strong, and he's prepared to pull every lever he can, yeah, for Putinshka. However, what's the motivation underneath that? We look in the obstacle card. Here we have the Four of Pentacles. This is about him holding on. He wants to hold on to his idea of himself as a leader out there on the world stage. Yeah, but he knows he has to hold on because all of the stuff with Ghislaine Maxwell, etc. He needs to hold on to the base, hold on to power. However, next card is the Hierophant. He sees himself as the supreme leader, the spiritual leader in a way of America. But this is also talking about his support from the evangelical church. As they talk about constantly on iHit News, they say, not my words, they say this evangelical religious indoctrination is a great sickness in America. They describe it as a cancer. Trump is relying on this, yeah? And a lot of these people are fredophiles as well. Anyway, for entertainment purposes only. Look here, we get the Lovers, yeah? This is talking not just about his close bond and relationship with Putin as if he is married to the guy. What this says to me is they've made a pact. Yeah, the lovers isn't just love in the fluffy sense. It is pacts, it is contracts. And as you know, I refer to this card as well as imports and exports, trade. Putinshka obviously will want, we don't know what the outcome yet is. I'm here live. I'll probably catch up tomorrow. Yeah, let's see what the outcome is. But from this, we see here Trump is allied with Putinshka, wanting to bond. They're already bonded. This says to me they already have a preset agreement. This also deals with contracts, imports, exports. And then the outcome card here is the strength card. So Trump is wanting to look strong. Yeah, he's wanting to look strong on the world stage, quite literally. He's trying to plumb his inner resources to deal with Putinshka, who has so much over him. He's get 3 major arcana as well out of 5. So this shows that this meeting here is very consequential and is going to decide a lot, not only for Trump's presidency, but also things in the world, particularly if Putin gets what he wants. Remember, Putin got the Emperor card. Duck Orange is going to try and serve his master. Let's put a 1 clarifier on that strength card. Let's see what emerges, yeah? You guys will probably be watching in real time. Oh, crikey, look at the time. Let's put that clarifier on the strength. Ah! Look! Money! It's always about the money with these douchebags. It's always about the money. Here. Putin will line his pockets or, you know, behind the scenes. Or Trump is going to get some kind of, maybe it could be crypto. Yeah, it could be crypto. It could be some kind of perks, some kind of backhanders. But let's not forget as well, this card, the Ace of Pentacles, can also represent fool's gold. Putin might make him an offer that he can't refuse. Or there's something behind the scenes, yeah? Then that high priestess came up, something behind the scenes where there's this exchange of money. It's all about the money. Right, I'm going to leave it there. Let's have a quick, let's see here. Someone's saying here, West Virginia, 3/4 gallon of milk, $5.99. That's still a lot, isn't it? Wow. That's a 3/4. Someone's saying here, Oxacat saying hello from Florida, watching a beautiful sunset here in Volusia County. Sending love. Thank you. Much appreciated. Let's see here. Mickey is, where is that 3.4 billion? I think the American folks need to know where the taxpayer money is going, like the Epstein file. Yeah, but they never will. It's just undiluted greed. Elisa's saying, since a little girl dreams about Switzerland, maybe one day I can also astro project there. Indeed. People saying it's been super hot. Let's scroll down. Let's see what else. Let's go to new. One minute. Jill. Hello, Jill. Jill's got a channel, by the way. You should check it out. It's called Jill Dalton NYC. And we had a little consultation the other day. I had a little catch up. And good luck for you, Jill, as well, with the acting work and all that stuff and your YouTube channel. So she's saying, yeah, maybe Doge stole all the money and the felon is giving it to Putin. Oh, yeah, all that stuff, all the information. And then, as stated, Hohi, they all have the disease of greed. Yeah, what I've been shown in the future now, humanity is splitting. Yeah, you may have heard this, but truly, humanity is splitting. Some people are going to go for the Neuralink and get the chip and all of that kind of stuff. And it may seem good on the surface, yeah, because they'll be able to download this, that, and the other. They're going to feel like Neo from the Matrix. but the soul is lost. Those have been with me for a while will remember that video that I looked at years ago, and I'm not going to say this person's name, but I recently had a consultation with a scientist who's doing extraordinary things with the brain. Yeah, extraordinary things. I'm not going to say more because it will endanger the person, but I'm not going to say more. Extraordinary things. This will revolutionize the future treatment, medicine. You won't even need. Anyway, I'm not going to. Brilliant person. She's showing the other side of humanity, which I saw in that dream. Those of us that do not go for the Neuralink stuff, we will become the master navigators of the universe in the end, and we will join the galactic family. It's going to be tougher because we're going to have to use our organic body. But what I was shown is that, you know, you don't travel in space in linear time like this. You bend space and then you travel between the contact point. But in order to do that, you need energy and you need imagination. What I was shown is the people that take the Neuralink, they lose it. They end up just becoming like a version of ChatGPT, probably a more sophisticated version, which will feel great at the time, but in the long time, no. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there because that was the whole tangent. Thank you, everyone, for joining me, and I've gone over time, so thanks so much. You will see me. Oh, I'm probably due to do a little financial update on my financial channel, but you'll definitely see me on Wednesday for the Hoglish there, and we're going to have Susan Lynn on as well, so tune in for that one, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, USA. All right, I'm going to leave it there. Big love, everyone, and see you soon. All right, bye-bye for now.